I'm becoming confused again, aren't I?
Of course not.
Don't lie to me. Not you.
Yes, Norman, you are becoming confused again.
Just don't let them take me back to the institution. All right?
The grandfather of that little girl we saw working at the shop in Long Lakes, Anthony Perkins.
Yeah. And you know what? Listening to that made me realize what I didn't like about that movie. There was
Long
lots.
Legs?
No, I like Long Legs, I think. This movie, it has long stretches of just music and then very slow sentences. You can speed that up, baby. You don't got to waste all that time. You can get this down to a tight 90, and then this movie would be genius.
I guess that's a take you'd have. I was wondering if you were going to have a problem with the fact that this movie came out 23 years after Psycho, but they said it was 22 years later.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, well, then never mind. Scratch it from the record and pretend it never happened.
Now, see, my problem, I believe, stems from the fact in The Crow, it's that in their own universe that they said it was 1 year later and then referred to it. Sometimes it bothers me in the meta sense when the movie is billed as one thing, but in reality it's something else. Because 28 years later,
Yeah.
pretty smart.
Even though it came out 23 years after.
Wait, it was 28. Wait, did it? Oh no. I hate that movie now.
I don't think 28 Days Later came out after an actual 28 days after an apocalypse. So I think you're okay.
I think it was just 28 days later from whenever they thought of the idea.
That's a quick turnaround.
It is. You
Wow.
saw it. It was pretty low budget.
You could see Cillian Murphy's dong in that if you want to. So we're going to have to cover that with our foreign correspondent Ken one day for a watch along. I put it in my notebook as a potential penis movie we can watch. This year I'm hoping to watch Mandy with him.
Did you just draw a penis in your notebook?
I know I put it in the penis-shaped notebook. That's how I keep them separate.
Like the offspring told us.
I'll tell you what, it's like a light tan notebook, much smaller than my black notebook. I don't know if that's staying in, but it might.
Well, if it's too big, it definitely is.
The things we find out in the edit. Can that one stay? I don't know. I think that can stay.
What's that song? Should I stay or should I go?
By-
You should play that in your head.
By The Clash?
No, the one that came out in the 90s movie.
By The Clash?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. I think that's who it was.
I really have no idea.
Yeah, right? Because they had London Calling, and I think that as they graduated from making just rebellious music to like popular music, I think they made that song.
I don't even really know what else they've done.
Those are the two I knew.
Oh,
I was hoping there'd be no follow-ups.
Oh, there's none, other than me admitting my own ignorance, which is vast and unending.
This movie was 23 years after Psycho. Nobody asked for it. Nobody wanted a sequel to Psycho. Least of all, Anthony Perkins.
Why is he here then? Why is he here?
Because he liked the script. And I like the script too, which is the thing about this movie was decently received at the time of release. And then it became like a punchline of like, it's not Psycho. You know, how do you make a sequel to Psycho? And then as time went on and more horrible sequels to great movies came out, people looked back at this and said, hey, this was actually doing something kind of interesting and maybe doing it the way you should do it, as opposed to just trying to ramp up the gore and ramp up the stuff, which Psycho 3 does.
How many Psychos are there?
There's 4 of the original things, and then a remake that is the worst movie ever made.
That's the one with, what's his face?
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, this is a markedly better movie than that one, largely because Anthony Perkins is so good in it. This was going to be a direct-to-cable movie because they didn't think that he had any interest in coming back. But he got the script and he looked at it and he said, fuck. It's a double-edged sword for Anthony Perkins.
Is he still alive?
No, he died of AIDS in 1992.
That was a long time ago. I'm sad now.
You want a fun fact?
No. Because I know it's not fun. You're going to tell me something evil. All right, go ahead. Say it.
He died of AIDS-related pneumonia in 1992, and that's Osgood Perkins' father. And his mother, Barry Berenson, was a passenger on the first plane to hit the tower on 9/11.
Oh, my God. What? You know, when I go on my deep dives for like why the one cat in that one scene had different color eyes, like there's usually a happy ending. Yours just seem to go always down the rabbit hole of doom. And you know what's down there? a gravestone with somebody's name on it.
I thought it was interesting.
So the father of the girl behind the counter in Log Legs and the son of Anthony Perkins.
Yes,
he
that's a
had
good person.
both his parents die.
What many people do.
Mine are still alive.
Yeah, mine are too.
So I don't know that you know what you're talking about today.
Like one for sure. I don't know for 100% about the second one, but I feel like someone would have told me.
You know, I feel that way too. It's been a minute since I talked to either of my parents.
I feel like I'd have gotten one of those correspondence letters with a $1,000 bequeathal so that you can't challenge the fact that you weren't left anything.
Oh,
I got one of those ones from a grandparent.
I've got my inheritance. It's copper pennies.
Nice.
Pre-1982, baby.
So nobody wanted to make a sequel to Psycho, but then, Halloween came out in 78. This is 83. By the time 83 rolls around, we're 3 deep on Friday the 13th movies. These things are very popular. And Universal owns the rights to Psycho, and they're sitting there going, why don't we make a Psycho? Because these things are so popular. But again, they're thinking about putting it on cable, so I don't think they're thinking that big about it. Just maybe this will get some interest.
Yeah.
And then Anthony Perkins says, all right, I'll do it. And Richard Franklin directs it. Now, Richard Franklin, I found some interesting stuff on him.
Is he dead?
Oh, yeah, he's dead. That wasn't the interesting stuff, but I did have it written down here.
But he died.
He did die. He was coming off the movie Road Games, starring Jamie Lee Curtis. And I think it was an Australian thriller that had a lot of Hitchcock stuff to it. But I looked deeper into this by reading further in his Wikipedia page. And he went to USC, and he was trying to get a screening of Rope for the department. And it led to him talking to Hitchcock on the phone. And this is obviously before Hitchcock died. He died for this.
Is Rope a Hitchcock movie?
Yes.
Okay.
He's trying to get a thing for that, and he talks to Hitchcock, and Hitchcock and him become friends, and he even visits him on a set of one of his movies, and he just becomes a huge Hitchcock fan. He watched Psycho when he was 12, and that's what made him love movies. So it's kind of a good get. Now, I read that they thought about Jamie Lee Curtis for the role of Mary in this,
Okay.
because Jamie Lee Curtis is the daughter of Janet Leigh, star of Psycho. She's coming off of Halloween, Halloween 2, Prom Night. She's trying to get out of horror. But I looked up the timelines on this. She's going to be filming Trading Places, which is her breakout non-horror hit. But it's after this filmed. She kind of was doing nothing during the year, so I don't know how hard they tried.
Okay.
It would have made some sense, but Mary is not the daughter of Janet Leigh. Mary is the daughter of Vera Miles, so they should have maybe looked for Vera Miles' daughter.
Okay. Wait, I had a thought, but it's gone. Carry on. Tell me more about this movie.
Well, Hitchcock died in 1980, and it kind of was seen as complete sacrilege to make this movie. But Universal was like, I don't know, we should probably make this movie because I think it'll do well. But again, they're going to put it on cable, so I'm not really sure what their thinking is. The producer that had worked with Hitchcock was like, I don't know that we should do this. Let me send the script to his daughter. So Pat Hitchcock, who plays the co-worker of Janet Leigh in the original Psycho, read it and gave it her approval and said, I actually think you would really would have liked this. And it does have more of a Hitchcock feel to it. You don't know what that means because you don't watch Hitchcock movies.
I don't.
It does have more of a Hitchcock feel to it than the 80s slashers of the time, which I think is also what hurt it at the time with reviews, was that horror fans wanted bloody slasher movies that were dumb. And this one is a distinct character piece, which is what I think makes it work. So I think that Richard Franklin's like, we're going to make a good movie. And moviegoers were like, that's not what I want.
Well, Psycho isn't a mass murdering, well, kind of, but, it's not a gore fest.
Exactly.
So it's logical that the second one would follow.
This is the problem that all these things come into, these movies that influence other movies, and they try to pop back up. Now they have to reflect what's happening on screen. This movie didn't even try.
No.
I appreciate that 40-something years later, looking back on it, that they weren't doing kind of what Psycho 3 did. Now, I like Psycho 3 because it gives into those impulses a little bit more. There's still not like a giant body count, but it's definitely a sleazier
type of movie. Well, this one was a little sleazier.
Not-
there was more nudity in this one.
There was any nudity is more because we've been over.
No, it was there.
Nope.
And then at the very beginning when they replayed or they redid the original, and I thought I was watching the wrong movie for a second, and I saw nudity again.
No, you didn't.
I sure did.
Again, you couldn't have. So
I don't know what you're watching, but you're clearly looking in the wrong parts.
Robert Bloch, who wrote the original novel, did write a book called Psycho 2 that came out the year before this movie.
Was it anything like the movie?
0% like the movie.
What happens in the book?
It's a satirization of Hollywood. They were never going to make that. But also, he kills Norman Bates off and you don't know it because somebody else is parading around as Norman Bates. I haven't read it, but I know that seems to be Robert Bloch's trick is
somebody
since you can't I'm just going to use pronouns and names because you can't tell that it's not that person until I reveal it. That's not actually a good writing trick. That's just lazy. And like, he can have a character walking around as mother, talking as mother. And you're like, oh, that was him. Doesn't make any sense when you really think about it, but that's what he was using. And I guess he did it again. Oops.
Well, you stick with what you know.
Yeah.
And he was a big fat guy, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe in his sequel he wasn't. Maybe he looked like Anthony Perkins. How would anybody read that book, Psycho 2, and not have Anthony Perkins in their mind? The movie was so much bigger than the book.
Okay. This is the first time I've ever seen this movie.
Yeah,
I've
most
never
people
watched
I
it.
don't think have seen it.
I didn't know what I was going to expect when I walked into it because Psycho 2. Where do you go? What more is left to be said about Anthony Perkins?
It turns out to be a whole lot.
I agree. Aside from those long stretches of music, this is a really fun movie.
Oh, I was going to say earlier, double-edged sword for Anthony Perkins. You're typecast so you can't get roles that aren't like serial killers. But then you get a script where it's a really good script, and you're like, fuck, I don't get good scripts anymore. This is the good version
But
of the
I
thing
have to
I've
go
been
back
doing.
and be what I've done. Yep.
But he did sign up for it, and they got more money, and they put it in theaters. And it was a success, just not like,
Gangbusters.
Yeah. And again, it was critically iffy. But I understand completely why he took this role. Because even though it kind of ruined his career in a way to be Norman Bates, it's a fucking really good acting movie if you're an actor and you haven't gotten to play anything really interesting in a while. This Norman Bates is a lot more interesting than the original one.
Yeah, and you know what? You can argue that parallels his real life. He's always being pigeonholed and stereotyped, and he can't just live his life, man.
I loved this movie the first time I saw it, which was probably in my 20s, because I think I saw Psycho in my 20s, so that probably checks out. I probably was like, let me check out the sequel. And I was stunned that the movie had such an interesting take on the character, because it doesn't feel like that's something that anybody would bother to try to do in sequels.
Honest to God, Brian, I didn't think there was anywhere to go with the Psycho story. And I was fascinated.
Yeah, the question of the movie, which again, most slasher sequels don't ever pose a question, but the question the movie asks is, will society ever let someone like Norman Bates just live his life and be, not crazy? Or will it drive him to craziness? It's a fascinating idea.
Because that's what it is, right? The movie, I don't know who hasn't seen it, probably Kitty.
Most people I don't think have seen it.
Well, so he gets out of jail because he ain't crazy no more. Because in the first one, he kills a bunch of folk. And what's the first one? His mom is dead, but his mom abused him, and he killed her and then pretended to be her.
None of that's in this canon yet.
Oh.
They say in this movie he killed 7 people. I don't know who that 7th person is.
I don't know the count.
He killed his mother. He killed his mother's lover. That's established in the first movie. He killed Janet Leigh. He killed Arbogast. That happens in the first movie. And at the end of the first movie, the mother admits to 2 more murders that are missing girls on their docket. That's 6. Who's the 7th person he killed?
I assume just some random guy who stayed at the hotel. Or a girl.
Yeah, the MO wouldn't really be he killed a guy, although he does kill Dennis Franz in this one.
Yeah, I saw Dennis. I didn't know that was him for a while. I'm like, that is that guy from that cop drama.
I know. If I want to know for sure it's him, you got to show me his ass.
What was it NYPD Blue that he was on?
Yeah.
Was that the first one that said shit on like primetime TV?
Maybe. It was definitely the one that showed ass.
Yeah.
Dennis love showing ass. He's got a great ass.
If you looked at that guy in the movie, the sleazy hotel manager, and, well, that was him, but second, just imagine his ass just right there.
Yep, imagining it.
Why?
Hold on, let me finish.
Gross. I wish we had a bigger table whenever you do these things.
We're going to need a bigger table.
Yeah, that was a Jaws joke. No. God damn it, you derailed me. Like that train.
What train?
The one that...
The runaway train is never coming back. Yeah. That one wasn't derailed. It was just going the wrong way on a one-way track.
All right.
But how can a track be one way?
I mean, it kind of is.
No. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
You can put a train in reverse.
That's not how you do it, though. The trains are one way because they got the engine. It's just unfortunate when they're both going in different one ways at the same time.
I guess every road is one way.
It is. You just got to.
No, I guess they're not because there's 2 different lanes.
But you got to have a biggest car. That's how you get the one lay.
A black
way.
car.
Well, I guess you just solved that edit problem.
It happens more than you'd think.
Well, anyway, why hang out at that hotel and house where all these terrible things have been? Just go anywhere else. I get that you're poor. Sell it. Move. Get the fuck out of town.
Who, Norman?
Yeah. staying at the house that all of this happened and does not seem like the best road to recovery.
Well, his psychiatrist, the most hands-on psychiatrist ever, Robert Loggia, he's like, I think this is a bad idea. And I'm like, it feels like you should be more persistent about this since you're taking active roles, tracking people and
Talking
looking
to
into
the
information.
police.
And he's right, though. He's a great character. He guesses immediately that somebody's fucking with him, and he's right.
He was right 100%. I think that Norman Bates was in a good mental space. Well, he was recovered enough. He was healing.
What makes the movie work is that there's no real way to answer that, but you can have a passionate take however you want it to be.
100%.
It's so great. And then, like, I'll get into, like, what happens throughout the movie, but I just want to comment on what I always thought was an awesome fucking ending for this movie. When this Emma Spool character becomes a major player out of nowhere in the
Emma
final.
Spool? Oh, his mom?
Yeah.
His real mom? The sister of
For
Bates?
this movie.
Yeah, but so that wasn't in there before.
No, it gets retconned too.
Okay.
When she becomes a major character in this out of absolutely nowhere, it's wild. But there's a subplot going on that we don't hear because she's also making calls to him and he's getting messages from his mother that we aren't privy to. So as he's going crazy, it's actually happening.
Yeah, but when she picked up the phone the one time, there was no one on the... Oh, it was just her being quiet.
Yeah.
I see.
It's because, well, he's crazy. So everything looks like he's crazy. It looks like he's going crazy. It looks like they're driving him crazy. That's not what's driving him crazy. I love that there was like a third avenue, a third way on a one-way track coming through.
It's the rule of threes.
This was the rule of threes. So we start with a replay of the shower scene from Psycho. And Pete sees a boob. It's not there
Boobs
again.
aplenty.
I guess if you have one of the greatest scenes in film history at your disposal, you might as well just use it straight off the bat.
That's like 4 minutes we could have cut from the runtime.
I don't think people would want that cut. I liked how it went from black and white to color and started the movie. I thought it was pretty cool that they didn't do a recap of the movie. They just showed the shower scene from Psycho. But also it worked because the next thing you see is him in court for this murder he committed. Credit for Psycho 2 begins and we switch to color. And I think it was a good way to let people know in a weird way that this wasn't just some non-canonized sequel. This was like, we own the rights to this. This is Psycho. Here's the continuing story. I thought it was actually a good way to do that.
Okay. Yeah, that really draws you right to the story.
What's weird to me is that that's all they put in for a recap. Because the Friday the 13th movies at this time, coming out 1 year apart, were putting in long, extensive recaps of their movies in case you haven't seen the movie or you can't get it somewhere. You know, I know Psycho probably was around, but VHS wasn't a big deal in 1983. So how long had it been since somebody had seen Psycho, maybe?
I remember watching, because I saw Psycho when I was a kid, and my mother, I believe, somebody, and then I ended up watching it, was the Hitchcock Masterpiece Theater. Was that him with the little line outline, and he would walk into it?
It's called Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I used to watch that too. So I got to assume that was in the 80s, and he was around. I mean, he was
died in 1980.
Well,
you're watching a show from the 50s and 60s.
No, I wasn't alive in the 50s and 60s, Fred.
Nick at Night used to have the
that's
Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Good old Nick at Night. That must have been where I saw it. But I know enough of Hitchcock. I don't know where I was going with that.
You don't know anything about Hitchcock.
I do. He did The Birds.
Those are the things you know about Hitchcock.
He did the one where the plane chases the guy, Carrie.
Yep, Carrie. It's funny you say Carrie because Brian De Palma's entire career has just been trying to rip off Hitchcock.
I don't even know who Brian De Palma is.
He made Carrie.
It wasn't. It's Stephen King.
Yes. Stephen King's first novel. He threw it in the trash and his wife said, I think this is pretty good. Maybe you should publish this.
I've seen the other things you've written, Steve.
Yeah, I know, right? Our new story opens with Norman Bates being released from the mental institution that I guess he's been in for 22 years. And he's deemed sane by the courts despite the pleas of Lila Loomis, a returning Vera Miles,
who played the sister of the girl who got killed in the shower in part 1.
Such a loving sister that she married the man Marion loved and caused the beginning of all of these problems in the first place.
I was wondering why that name seemed familiar. She married the same guy. What a weirdo.
An unnecessary plot point. However, I understand why they did it. Because audiences are stupid. They know the name Loomis. If she married someone else and they reveal that Mary's name is Mary whatever the fuck, it doesn't hold the same weight as Mary Loomis. It's the name they could give Vera Miles' character because her daughter in 1983 isn't going to keep the maiden name of her mother. So they needed a name they could attach to her that would hold some weight with the audience watching. I figured out script-wise why they did it, but such an unnecessary plot point.
All right.
John Gavin was still alive at this point. In fact, Vera Miles, now we're recording this a bit early. We did this during the Psycho watch along. Still alive, 94 years old. We'll see what happens come September 10th. John Gavin's still alive at this point, but he couldn't return because he was, and this is true, the U.S. ambassador to Mexico under Ronald Reagan.
Well, that makes sense, right? Reagan was an actor. He's got a bunch of actor buddies.
You know, in the year of our Lord 2025, it makes as much sense as anything else going on.
Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. But I just think that's funny that he just stopped acting like 2 years earlier. And then his time to shine finally came around, and he's
like,
busy
sorry.
being the U.S. ambassador to Mexico under Ronald Reagan.
Well, that happened to Cal Penn.
It did happen to Cal Penn. People forget. I don't think he was the U.S. ambassador to Mexico.
I don't even know what he was, but I know he left house.
I know it wasn't that important a role.
But he said, take this television medical drama instead of cop drama.
And then he popped up on How I Met Your Mother because he was done with that job.
Harold ended up on How I Met Your Mother, too, I think.
I think he did. He was the boss.
Yeah, he was Marshall's boss.
That's right.
at
He was
some
one of
company.
Marshall's bosses at one of those places.
Man, we're good at remembering stuff.
It makes sense because Neil Patrick Harris is a star.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you didn't put together why they would be there?
Look, it wasn't Nicolas Cage. I can't figure things out.
Yeah, she says Norman killed 7 people. I think she's adding on, this is a grift.
Yeah, because she came out screaming in that courtroom.
Yeah, this woman's a liar.
I didn't know that at the time. I thought she was just a concerned citizen with big feelings.
I can understand her anger.
Yeah,
although,
right.
when you go back and watch the end of the original Psycho, she wasn't that angry about it, so I don't know how she got more angry 28 years, 23 years later.
She had time to think about it. And also, she was crazy.
And she'd lost her husband, we learned later. They killed poor John Gavin off screen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. How did he die?
Just off screen. She just says he passed away. He would have been in his 50s, so there had to be a story there.
Worst way to go, off screen. I hope I never get that.
You know, most people die off screen. Not all of them, though.
No, I saw Faces of Death when I was a child.
This movie has always been interesting to me because, more interesting than it probably should be, because it really just buckles down on the Norman Bates sanity question.
And it was solid. You know I don't like old movies generally. Because
You don't like new movies, too.
Yeah, I have a lot of complaints. I got a lot of problems with the way people do things. But Norman Bates in this second movie is fascinating. Everything about him is interesting. His sanity, you're never sure where he is. And like you said, you can form an opinion on what you think is happening. Like, was he crazy? Where does he start to lose it? Was he sane? And it continues throughout. And that ending, I thought that I had missed something when we find out about, the twist that his mother is.
It's actually what I really like about it, because as he's slipping, his sanity is definitely slipping at some points.
Right.
Near the end. But it's not, the question of the movie is, will society let him ever be anything but crazy? And society tries to drive him crazy. It fails. But Mother came back. Mother's the thing that makes him crazy. Their tricks aren't the thing that drive him over the edge.
So,
being able to hear his now new mother, Emma Spool, is what drives him over the edge.
Why do you say he went over the edge there?
Well, because he definitely goes crazy at the end of the movie.
Why? What do he kills her. He kills his mother because that's what he does. Like, that's his whole thing. It was her dumb idea to tell him who she was.
Yes,
so
but
she had that coming. But it seemed more like, good, I got rid of that problem. And now I can put her where she belongs. I don't think
keep having conversations with her.
That's just Norman Bates. I think that.
No, my point is that the other characters in the movie are trying to show the world that he's the same character from the first movie. And he's not not for any of the reasons they're trying to do it. Nothing they're doing is going to work. The whole movie's really good because it's him mentally fighting against it and trying to, stay sane, if you want, for lack of a better word. But the idea that there's another mother out there that he can have is what brings him back to the original person. You end up in the same place that you had in the first movie because nothing to do with what the plot was. I really enjoy that.
Well, I guess maybe I didn't look at the ending when he's standing there in front of his house with his mother in the window upstairs.
Awesome shot.
It was. I thought that was kind of like weirdly optimistic. I didn't think of it as him being insane again. I'm like, Norman's back.
I thought it paid off probably what the audience wanted in that moment better than any legacy sequel I've ever seen.
Where you've got crazy.
It's this amazing image. Mother's back in the window. Norman Bates is crazy. It's the hotel's open
You're
for business.
right.
It's everything you want.
This is a legacy sequel too. I didn't even think about that, but
Such
100%.
a term did not exist at the time.
Nope, but that's what this was. And I don't know if I've seen a better legacy sequel.
No, it's pretty.
It's worth the watch if you haven't seen it.
It's a really good thing Richard Franklin cared about this material because he made a really good movie, and I know that he was probably hands-on on what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. You know, we did some callbacks to Psycho, but we're not going to make the whole movie out of Psycho. It's going to have its own thing. Now, Anthony Perkins plays the hell out of it the whole time. He's fucking incredible in this movie. And Hitchcock making you feel bad for Norman was like the great trick of the first movie. But it's harder to do now. And they pull it off again because Perkins is so fucking good.
He's 100% sympathetic when he comes out of that courtroom, right out of the gate.
But it also got to the point where I'm like, even if he is crazy and killing people, just leave the man alone. Like that's how sympathetic I was to Anthony Perkins' performance.
Because he had a manager running his hotel when he gets out of
Dennis Franz,
who's turned it into like a by the hour hotel.
Yeah, everyone's drinking, doing drugs, partying, having sex. But also the hotel's successful for the first time in its history. So I don't know. Norman doesn't like this plan. And I'm like, he's the only one with a business model.
But you know what? I'm on his side. I'm like, yeah, drugs are bad. You're a guy trying to recover, staying at your mom's house where you've murdered people for years. But anyway, Moving on. Got one of his coworkers who needs a place to stay. So he brings her over and she ends up.
Which I also like because it sounds like this ridiculous convenience of a plot, but it has a sinister purpose because she's on board initially with her secret mother's plan. Everyone's got a secret mother. Her secret mother's plan to bring Norman Bates down.
Right. So, but Norman
all
Bates,
that stuff you'd look at and be like, this is cheesy writing. It's like, oh, it all is purposeful writing.
and Norman Bates is so sympathetic, not just to us, the viewer. The daughter who is in on the plan isn't in on the plan partway through because she's like, what a good guy this Norman Bates is. What we're doing is wrong. He needs to live his life. Let him be.
Well, one of the things I like is the way that the movie slowly is returning Norman to the form you want, because it is going to get there.
But I didn't want him there.
But he's also, it's inevitable, but he's also restoring the motel at the same time. So the motel is becoming more, but it's going to lead you right back to the road that you secretly do want.
I don't want that.
Yeah,
I wanted
you
him
do.
to be happy. His mom was a bad person, but it wasn't his mom. And his new mom was kind of crazy too.
Pete, can I spoil something for you?
Yeah.
This is what makes him happy. There is no existence for Norman Bates where mother isn't the other half of him.
I mean, I guess if he's happy.
Yeah. But I love that the metaphor of the hotel's becoming more and more finished
As he is.
It's a really solid attempt to make a sequel to a masterpiece that nobody asked for. But they weren't ready for it either. Because
and they
again,
didn't deserve it.
It came out in the wrong era. It came out in the height of over-the-top gore and spectacle.
Yeah,
This
that
was a
is
thinking
rough.
man slasher.
That is a tough sell in that era. I probably appreciated it.
Oh, this holds up a billion times better than those other movies. Like, I like putting them on for fun, but this movie is so much better than like Friday the 13th Part 3. It's not even funny.
Anthony Perkins is great.
That's the thing none of those movies have, is this deep understanding he has for the character. Now, I like Psycho 3, even though it turns its impulses the wrong way. Anthony Perkins directed that, and it's very much a movie that works because he understands this character inside and out.
Okay.
So it's a fun one.
All right. Shit. What was I going to say? Meg Tilly?
Yep.
I like it,
the
Tilly.
other Tilly.
Did you know that Jennifer Tilly? See, this is the rabbit hole I went down. I was like, Meg Tilly. Is that related to Jennifer Tilly by any chance? And I looked it up. Jennifer Tilly is a world poker champion. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
She's also like filthy rich because she was married to Sam Simon, one of the creators of The Simpsons.
Oh, I remember in the Halloween episodes, he was screaming Sam Simon.
You want a fun fact about him?
No.
No, never mind then.
Is he dead?
Yes.
God. Is Matt Groening still around?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were divorced. She got tons and tons of money, stayed on good terms, and then he passed away.
All right. And she plays poker.
And she plays a lot of poker.
And
what else does she have to do? And she was in Chucky movies and Chucky TV shows. And she's so good in that Chucky TV show.
Yep. And Meg.
She just doesn't have to do it.
No.
She doesn't have to do anything. She's like unbelievably rich.
But she enjoys doing these things. I appreciate her. And I like her sister too.
I think that I saw an interview with her where she said that when she got the script for Bride of Chucky, she thought, "Oh, my career's really getting away from me." And like thought it was like such a silly idea. And then I read the script. It's like, this does seem a lot of fun though. It's like, and little did I know, 25 years later, I'm still playing this role. And she's like, and it gets better. And it is. She's awesome in it. Like she's so iconically great in this series that it really breathed new life into that series.
I remember when that movie came out, her as the bride, it just seemed perfect. I said, that's a Bride of Chucky if I ever heard one.
I love that movie. We've covered the movie on this. But such perfect casting. You found the Brad Dourif counterpart you needed, and you can't find somebody better than Jennifer Tilly.
No.
It's so good. She's so good in that fucking movie. Meg Tilly's good in this, too. I've never seen her in anything else.
And you want to know a fun fact about the Tillys? I've seen both of them naked.
Wow, you didn't, because Meg Tilly uses a body double in this scene.
Then I saw somebody else
Yes.
naked. That's my... See, I think that I was going to bring up how you really don't see nudity. Again, it's just something you don't see in horror movies anymore.
They felt they had no choice but to put something in there for this.
To pay off the debate about the boob in...
No, because it's the 80s.
I think it was both. Because they're like, it's the 80s. We're going to imagine if they didn't put any nudity in.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like they thought they had no choice.
Right, because people are arguing about the...
Nobody was arguing about it.
They 100% were. I've read all those Hollywood books. That's like the biggest argument ever. You say, I don't know Hitchcock. I know that he sent that in to the ratings people, and they're like, it's a boob, take it out. So he sent it back in.
If you read anything beyond that sentence, you'd know that she wore something to cover her top. You couldn't see something. Even if it caught the frame of a boob, there can't be a nipple on it.
I never read that anywhere.
Well, I have, because I've read actually 2 books about the making of Psycho.
No, you've read like 7 books?
17, 18 now.
18.
The James Whale one was the 18th one.
Wow. Who was Loomis in Hollywood? Because Loomis was somebody, wasn't he?
What?
Loomis. The name. No, not Loomis. What was the name they used in this one?
Loomis.
Yeah.
Loomis was Sam Loomis from the first movie. And then he was Dr. Sam Loomis in Halloween. And then he's Billy Loomis. And Samantha Loomis, if she used that name.
Psycho was the original Loomis.
Yes.
All right. That's what I didn't know if it was a director or something. And they just took that name.
No, I think it just was in Robert Bloch's book.
All right.
There you go. There's Robert Bloch is the one to blame.
Take that, blockhead.
No, Norman sees something in Mother's window immediately upon arriving to the house with his psychiatrist. And he also finds a note from his mother and hears her voice remembering when he poisoned her. And he sees the door open and a body falls over. So it's going swell. By the way, the reflection of a young Norman in that door, do you know who that was?
Buddy, are you trying to shoe in on my credit check again?
Well, it was the father of that girl working the counter in Long Legs, Osgood Perkins.
And you know what? You want a sneak peek of a knick-knack fact?
Ooh.
Well, that kid, that kid who was the father of that girl who was behind the counter, she was interacting with Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm. Because the son of Norman Bates directed Scare Value Award-winning performance from Nicolas Cage in Long Legs last year.
And that is some Nick news.
That is the closest, that is 1 degree of separation for Nick Cage. That should be your new thing. How many degrees of separation from the most random thing we can pick? Ooh. Anthony Perkins, it's 1.
Ooh, that's a fun game we should try sometime. All right, I'll workshop that in my own head. I'll take it to the Crow Committee.
So Norman gets a job at the nearby diner. And I mean real nearby, because they can walk it.
I assume across the street.
But I don't understand why that diner is there, because the road has been off the throughway for at least at this point 24 years.
That was the whole problem in the first movie.
So how is this diner bustling?
Well, it could be a long walk. We don't know. Although that swamp was like across the street as well. There was a lot going on next to that
I believe the swamp is part of his property. It's just behind the motel. He meets Emma Spool, who seems like she shouldn't be an important character at all throughout legitimately the first hour and 50 minutes of this hour and 53-minute movie.
That's Meg Tilly.
And Mary is Meg Tilly.
Mary is Meg Tilly. Okay.
Emma Spool is his mom, but not his mom, not the mama. She's not yelling the whole movie.
Oh, right. Because moms be yelling. I remember that.
And then, like I said, there's some, what when you're watching the first time can be like, oh, cheesy, lame plot points. She's having boyfriend trouble. She has nowhere to stay. It's like, it's all a setup that I think is really cleverly hidden, because I completely buy Mary as a character.
Yep.
Because she does care about Norman. That's like the best trick of the movie, is that it isn't a heel turn where she turns and she's like, we almost got him. She's like, I don't think we should be doing this. He seems like a genuinely repentant and nice person. And Lila's like, I'm going to get him. I'm the psycho now. Look at me. Look at me.
Is that what this message is? Moms be crazy?
She'd be yelling. I saw Lila yelling.
You did. Moms be yelling.
That Mary character is so interesting to me because, first of all, they take the tropes of how dumb some of the plots are in these movies, but they use it really cleverly. But then they don't do the normal thing where she's the bad guy. She's never the bad guy.
Well, sort of at the beginning.
Sort of. She's in there, but she doesn't do anything bad when she's doing some of those tricks to him. That's true.
Yeah, if I listen to this correctly, at one point she brought all the furniture into his mother's room and like redecorated it, put a note in there, and made him go crazy looking at it, and then locked him in the attic and moved all that furniture back out.
By the way, all that furniture, they found it in storage. It's all the original stuff.
That's cool.
That is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
That's why that stuff looks so good. But I liked that her character was able to have 3 dimensions and like spend time with them and be like, I think we're doing this wrong. I think we should leave him alone.
I think even the sheriff was a fleshed out enough character, because at one point he's like, hey, we may be fucking, slow around here, but we're not idiots.
The only one who's not is Dennis Franz, who's like, oh, this fucking psycho, you're going to stab me, psycho? Grab the knife, psycho. He's in public.
That's classic Dennis Franz.
It is classic. His ass is out there. It's classic Dennis Franz.
Earl had to die.
Yes. So he fires Dennis Franz because he lets Mary stay at the hotel, but then he finds that the occupants of the hotel are doing drugs. And he fires Dennis Franz because he doesn't want no party house.
None.
He doesn't want no party motel. Doesn't want to make money.
No, it's not his thing, baby. His jam is killing. You taught me this.
I want to make a joke about how Norman is so bothered by people doing drugs in the motel when he's murdering people in the motel. But it wasn't actually him that murdered those people, so I have to let it go.
No, he only killed one person in this movie.
Norman himself? He killed one person, yeah. Norman himself, I think, killed... I guess he was in charge when he killed his mother and her lover. So Norman himself has probably killed 3 people in his life.
Was he in charge at the end here of this one? He might have been. No, he was. He was so happy when he
was getting his mother back.
When he asked her how her poison tea was and then smiled and hit her with the shovel upside the head. He was so happy.
That satisfying clank when she was starting to feel the poison of the tea and then she just gets writhing on the ground with it. It was so out of nowhere because it's so out of character for the rest of this movie that it's amazing.
I was still reeling with trying to take in the information of the fact that this is a mother and the sister was the Mrs. Bates that we've known. And I was sitting here because I haven't seen part 1 in a long time. So I didn't remember if this was something I had missed or it was something
we watched part 1 3 weeks ago.
It's been a long time, man. And this one, I thought it maybe was something that I just didn't hear, because sometimes I don't pay the best attention to movies when they talk and play long sections of music in between sentences.
We're going to find out in 3 that she's not his mother, that his real mother was Mrs. Bates, Norma Bates, that this was her sister, but she's crazy and this was not her son. And because they want to restore that. In the 4th one, they just ignore completely what happens in 2 and 3.
He had 2 dads.
Yeah, Greg Evigan and Paul Reiser.
Whatever happened to Greg Evigan?
I don't know. I thought he was the cool one.
How did you pull that name? He was the cool one.
How did I pull that name? Yeah. I think about him daily. I always ask myself, whatever happened to Greg Evigan?
All right. That's something we'll have to go rabbit holing down.
The question isn't how I pulled that name. It's how did I pull it first of the pair? We talk about Paul Reiser. It's a shocking amount on this show.
Do we really?
Well, Aliens.
What else is he doing?
Paul Reiser?
I don't know. That's why he's grateful. You're welcome, Paul Reiser.
He was in Stranger Things.
I never watched it past
with Matthew Modine, a Bye-Bye Love reunion.
It was a Bye-Bye Love reunion.
Randy Quaid not invited. He asks Mary to stay because he's worried about being in the house alone. And Mary tries to help, quote unquote, him face his fears by taking him into Mother's room and making him look around and stuff. And they found all that at furniture and storage, which is cool. And Norman gets another note from Mother at work. So it's haunting him everywhere. But it's also tangibly physical.
But he can't ever find it when he needs to display the proof.
Because they're pulling magic tricks on him and the other one's pulling them away because everyone's working together on the shit.
It seems like the whole town is against him.
That's the point of the movie, yes. Except for Robert Loggia, who when he hears about this, he's like, well, it has to be a person doing this to you. Well, Robert Loggia is fucking great.
His reputation is on the line. He is like what a good Dr. Loomis would have been if, he could fix his patient. If Michael could have been fixed, he perhaps could have if he had had Robert Loggia as his psychiatrist.
I wanted them to remake the movie immediately with this psychiatrist as Donald Pleasance's character in Halloween.
And then put Donald Pleasance in Psycho 2.
Oh, well, then we just get the movie where Norman knows how to stand in bushes and loom around. He'd be looming.
Yes, he would. That would be interesting. All right. But yes, continue.
So Toomey shows up at Norman's work, and he starts bothering Mary about sleeping with a psycho and loses his mind. And everybody, pretty much except Mary, is like, well, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. I think his name is Toomey. You shouldn't be doing that to me. But also, this guy kind of is a psycho. But I will say this. The guy that he works with in the kitchen, he scalds him with fryer grease because he's frustrated and hits the basket and it burns him. He's not really mad at Norman about it. I was like, yeah, good guy.
No,
I'd be really mad.
He was very accepting, and he's like, yeah, all right, everyone's got problems. That's what a lot of the server industry is like.
Yeah, Toomey wants to fight him, and Norman just backs away.
Oh, that's right. Toomey was Dennis Franz. Just call him Dennis Franz.
Dennis Franz wants to fight him, and Norman's like, shit, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to win that fight.
But in the middle of all of this, he had just gotten that note from his mother on the wheelie receipt order thing for...
And he keeps telling him, like, there's a note up there, there's a note up there, and they're like, there's nothing here, so he looks insane.
Yep.
Which is the point.
Then you got Dennis Franz screaming at him and challenging him to fight in the middle of the kitchen. There's fucking knives everywhere this man turns. He can't get away from them.
Yeah, Norman in knives. Norman returns home. Mary comes with him, and she's like, I'm going to stay here for a while.
Pulls out 3 knives, puts them away.
Puts them in his hand. He's like, I don't have any knives here. And then she's like, no, here's a big butcher's knife, like the one you used to kill my aunt. Puts it right in his hand. It's an awesome scene, though, because it's like just even him sitting at a table. It's a perfect image for this movie. It's him sitting at a table, very confused and afraid, holding a knife. And it's like, I love it. I love that. That's like a perfect image of what Norman Bates is in this movie. Because he doesn't know what he's doing or what he's capable of or what's happening. And we don't know that somebody is telling him that his mother's alive.
And we keep getting phone calls too. We don't know that there's people actively working against him. We have, as the viewer, plausible excuses for him being the murderer because there's places where we don't see things from his point of view anymore. Like we've got him in a situation where he can't be there physically, like he's locked in a room.
Yes, but when he gets locked upstairs, 2 kids sneak into his basement to do drugs and have sex, and they get murdered. And then he's like, well, you think, well, it can't be him. He's locked the thing. But when he goes to open the door, it's unlocked. So
right.
We don't know. It's a perfect...
the movie's like that. Just throughout the movie, everything has an explanation. And you sit there wondering,
Yep. Before that, someone in a dress kills Toomey. So there's a body count in this movie that's higher already. Right. But it's not Norman.
For the first 45 minutes or so, nothing. There's no kills, no nothing. Maybe even the first hour. But when they start, it starts pretty fast and furious.
Yeah, Norman quits the diner after about, I think, 2 days of work. They say it's been a week, but I feel he's been to 2 shifts.
That's what I saw on screen. And I think she was at his house 2 times.
I'm pretty sure it was a 2-day night cycle.
Right.
The story then completely transitions to the question of Norman's sanity. The mystery of Norman's sanity becomes the major plot point of the movie after about 40 minutes. And we just start seeing and hearing things. And Robert Loggia's like, I know somebody's fucking doing this to you, which is great because I'm sitting there going, there are questions about how much Norman's doing here, but like somebody's definitely doing this to him. I'm seeing the notes.
Right. How much of it's the question, how much is insanity and how much is something out externally happening to him?
Yeah, and I really like how the movie doesn't treat you stupid. Like,
you're right.
Somebody presents the viable option of somebody's fucking with you, and you're like, oh, Vera Miles is still hanging around somewhere.
Right.
But you don't really expect it to be Mary.
And things are revealed to you.
Although,
what?
I've heard it said there's something about Mary.
I heard that
they were trying to warn us about Psycho 2.
I heard that as well. I mean, it was a little bit too late. It was like 20-something years later, 15 years later. I don't remember when that movie came out.
Well, the sheriff comes because the girl gets away from the murder in the basement. The person in the dress kills the boy down there, but the girl gets away. So sheriff comes like, yeah, I got a girl that won't come near this house because says her boyfriend got murdered. And they go to the basement. It's all cleaned up. And there's nothing there, which is the moment that you have to know for sure Norman's not doing this.
All right, let me think on that for a minute. Do I know that Norman's not doing it? No, because he could have been in a fugue state and not known that
I know that we've seen him clean up after himself before. I know that that's happened. But it doesn't happen here. Like, we're not losing the time with Norman. You know, it isn't like it's 3 days later. This girl ran to Norman had no chance to go in and out of a state where he was cleaning up after himself.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. And it's right after, well, that's the moment where Mary gives him an alibi.
Even though it's fake. And by that point, do we know?
I don't think we know that they're working.
No,
She's working
not
with
yet.
her
We
mom
don't know that yet. Well, yeah, we don't know that she's Lila's daughter yet. But she gives that alibi, and it's a nice moment because for the character, you're like, wow, she really believes in him. But she also knows it's not true.
No, see, I think that's where she started to really believe, like, change her mind about what she was doing and question, hey, maybe my mom is insane.
I think she was kind of questioning it pretty quickly, honestly, because he was too nice.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But it was that moment when she offers the alibi that she's tangibly, like, taking part in defending him.
Yeah, because Lila finally comes back into the movie right after that, and we find out that Mary's her daughter. Mary Loomis, another Loomis for the canon. The Loomis canon.
That sounds mean.
Actually, 2 more Loomises, because she's a Loomis too now.
Fire!
And they've been leaving all the notes and calling and trying to drive him crazy. And Mary's like, I don't think this is a good idea. And I know we didn't kill that person, so there's someone else in this fucking house.
Is it you, mother?
That's what she's like. There's someone else in this house. I think it's you. And I don't want to do this anymore. And, well, she also sees someone looking back at her through the peephole that was drilled in the bathroom. But she's like, I don't think Norman drilled that hole. Like, something else is going on here.
Right. No, she's convinced that there's other people. She's 100%.
Well, that was a pretty good moment when she saw the eye look back at her and the thing. Those things always work for me.
It was fun. No, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, well, that happens a lot.
It's happened a lot today.
I know.
And Robert Loggia, you remember we sat down here and the first thing you said was, watch it this morning, fresh in my brain.
I've had no time to form an opinion upon it. I've just passively taken it in, so I'm waiting for you to tell me more about it.
Well, I love the Robert Loggia character because he hears gets the first wind of this and he goes, someone's doing this to Norman because I'm a good doctor.
You know what
and he's
had?
right.
When he went up to that cop, the sheriff, and he started giving him like, this is how you run this outfit. He had that guy with the fur coat from Black Christmas energy, the hockey playing fur coat guy.
Well, he suspects foul play and he's like, I'm going to look into this. And he tells Norman Mary is Lila's daughter. I love that there's no stupid people in this movie. He's competent. He finds this information out. He takes it directly to Norman.
Dennis Franz.
But at this point, Norman's starting to act a little differently.
Well, I believe you're right. I do believe that he starts to slip mentally somewhere in there.
This
like
is
it's
when-
a gradual,
This is when the unseen Emma Spool character is entering his story
and starts calling him.
and telling him, Mother's out there. She's still alive. And he starts telling him, Mother's still alive. That's where he's getting that information from, not from him going crazy,
And not
because
from,
somebody's telling him
not from
that.
Lily telling him that, because that's Lila. You have him getting phone calls for the rest of the movie at this point, all from different people messing with him. Some that you, the viewer, know about that's really happening, but also stuff you don't know about. And you also don't know if any of them are actually real either. Some of those phone calls could have just been nothing. Who knows with him?
Once the madness is unlocked, anything's possible.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty positive Emma Spool unlocks the madness, not anything that these people are doing. These people are nothing.
I think that probably unsettled him quite a bit. I mean, it's tough getting along. If none of this had happened, he might have been just perfectly fine.
Well, Mary confronts Lila and says, we have to stop doing this. This is fucking out of control. And then we find out Lila wasn't in the house the night before. So the person she saw couldn't have been her. So there's definitely another person around. And Norman confronts Mary about what Robert Loggia's told him, knowing Robert Loggia is a good man and a truth teller, a speaker of truths. But then in my favorite scene in this movie, Norman answers the phone and just goes into I'm crazy Norman stuff to the point where I can't tell if he's doing it just to unsettle Mary. And it works no matter what. It isn't. He's going crazy. But he's like, Mother, no, I can't kill her. She's been so nice to me. And then she's like, Mother, look, I'm your mother. And she puts on the wig and the stuff. She's like, I've been doing it. I'm your mother. Like, and she tries to pull a Friday 13th part 2 with Ginny and saying, Norman, it's your mother talking to you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing Ginny does 2 years or 1 year earlier in Friday the 13th part 2.
Oh, yeah, that was Friday the 13th. Okay.
So his sanity's completely slipping. Mary's desperate to save him. But the best part about this fucking movie to me is that, remember how the first movie ends with like a 5-minute explanation of everything you just saw?
Yes.
That happens again here, but they get almost all of it wrong. Because Mary is the lead suspect on all of these murders.
Oh, yeah.
But Mary didn't kill anybody. But she looks psychotic, dressed up just like Norman was at the end of the first movie, stabbing at Norman.
Yep.
Now, in the interim, Lila gets murdered. Good knife through the face. Also not Norman.
No, the only person he kills is, what's-her-face? His mother, his
Who's
aunt,
the one
whatever, yeah.
Who's the one who's sneaking around the house and killing people and getting into Norman's head. There's a secret person.
And apparently spying on what's-her-face in the bathroom.
Yep. Yeah. I love how it does it because it misdirects you so well with a person who doesn't want to be complicit, a person that's completely in on it, and there's a third person you don't see who's driving Norman crazy.
At one point, because I'm sitting there trying to play the game of, all right, who's the killer here? It's got to be one of them, right? Like,
Right.
who are the people I'm introduced to?
Right.
And as they all die off, I'm running out of options. So when it's somebody who you haven't met before or wasn't really in the picture, you're left wondering.
You assume Lila's killing people. That's the
Yeah.
only assumption you can make. So when Mary finds out she wasn't in the house, you're like, wait a minute.
I thought Robert Loggia was the killer at one point.
Never thought that. Robert Loggia was a real one. But Robert Loggia does get killed by Mary. That's her one, I guess, real kill, but it's an accident.
100% an accident.
He
She
jumps
didn't
in
mean
behind
to.
her and then he just stabs him because, like, what do you do?
He shouts, "Gotcha."
I know. It's weird.
Gotcha, bitch.
For a guy who's been such a good hands-on psychiatrist, I don't think gotcha is a technique that... a gotcha is a technique.
He thought it was the bad guy. And what else do you shout when you gotcha? You go, "Gotcha," and you pull the mask off. Now let's see who the
'Cause we do hear the
mystery
one phone
guest
call.
really is.
We do hear the one phone call where somebody calls Norman that's not Lila and claims that it's his real mother, but not the Mrs. Bates we know. So we know that, like, that's been planted in Norman's head. Because we do hear that one. We don't hear every conversation he's hearing on the phone, whether they're there or not, but we do hear that part.
Right.
Yeah. Because then Dr. Raymond is Robert Loggia. Robert Loggia is following Lila around, follows her to the Bates Motel. She sneaks into the house, and he's gonna get ready to pop out at her and say, "Gotcha." Before he can, she gets stabbed through the face.
Which was unexpected.
It
and
was.
pretty cool.
It was because I don't know where the danger is, because they're hiding the danger.
But the very fact that the knife goes into her mouth and then comes out the backside, that's not what I expect from Psycho.
And they find Toomey's car in the same swamp that he dumped
Everyone else.
Marion in the first movie.
Somebody kept saying, "Go drag that or drain that swamp." Drain it,
Lila
'cause
did. Lila's like, he's got dead people in there.
it's what he always does.
And he does, except he's not the one doing it. And Mary feels really guilty and tries to get Norman to run because they're going to suspect him of murder. And he's like, to go where? He's right. To go where?
This is all he knows.
Yeah. He's like, there's nowhere to go. And she's like, I guess you're right. And like, you guys are all fucked. Only Norman's going to be happy in this movie. I love it.
I enjoyed this movie. I really did.
Yeah, because we know for a fact that Norman is also hearing Mother when Mother's not on the phone because Robert Loggia calls him. And he's like, "What's that, Mother? What's it?" And it doesn't seem like he's doing it as a prank. It just seems like he's like, "I'm hearing Mother now." He's fucking gone.
It's a slow progression, but it's not till the very end that I guess does he really fully go insane? Is he embracing his insanity? Is that the moment he slips when he gets to the end? Or like, what is his mental state?
Well, he's sitting there having his sandwiches and milk, which is his favorite meal.
It sure was.
Mary's now the prime suspect in everything because they do have her for killing. It seems that for sure she killed Robert Loggia, except that's not exactly right. But now they're like, she probably killed everybody. And I'm like, boy, they got that. They did the same scene and they got everything wrong. I love it. But everything's coming up Norman this time. Mm-hmm. And he gets a knock on the door, and it's Mrs. Spool, of all people that we haven't seen except like 2 scenes at the diner a long time ago.
I completely forgot. I thought she was out of nowhere until you told me.
She sits down at the table because there's 2 place settings. And she's like, "Oh, you were expecting me?" And he's like, "I was expecting someone. Didn't know it'd be you." And it's like, awesome.
So he figured that he's not just insane.
He knew Mother was coming home. He just didn't know who she was.
All right.
And he pulls out the old container that has the poison in it. Now, I just want to say something about this concept. It was at least 30 years ago that's been sitting there. But we know from an earlier conversation they've been renting this house out to tenants.
I forgot about that.
It's a good thing nobody ever drank any tea in that house.
Or threw away the old shitty tea tin in their cupboard, on the low shelf of the cupboard too, no less.
They just left it there for 30-something years.
And all the old furniture in his mother's room covered in drapes and stuff. They didn't get rid of anything.
Yeah.
They didn't update the wallpaper. That was some old-ass wallpaper I was looking at. I kind of liked it.
This was the same house. They hadn't torn it down yet. The house was still standing. The motel needed to be rebuilt.
And repainted.
Well, yes, that too. The house was still there. Then they tear it down, I think, after this one or after Psycho 3. I don't remember. No, it's after this one, I think, 'cause they have to rebuild it for Psycho 3.
Okay. Because they had to put that ride track through it for the LA earthquake or flood, whatever it was, the disaster.
Spool tells him, "I'm your real mother. Norma was my sister. I was young and hadn't been married and having mental problems of my own.
And she laughed about it. She's like, oh, you know about that.
She's like, I was in an institution. Norma stepped in and raised you. I didn't get out till you were already in the institution. I'm like, you were in there for a long time.
So was he.
He was in there longer. Norman was older than 22. Norman gets out 22 years later. Norman was older than 22 when we see him in Psycho.
Was he?
She got put in when she was 1. Yes, absolutely.
Wait, she didn't get put in when he was 1?
Yes, that's exactly what she said.
Oh, all right. I wasn't listening.
I'm
I was
taking
confused.
that directly from the... Now, she's crazy, and she also is a murderer. And she gets hurt. Oh, man, this ending scene. First time I saw the movie, I cackled. It's like, I love this moment so much. That thunk. And then the chair breaks, and she just writhing, like sit on the floor, kind of like quivering. And then he picks her up, takes her up to Mother's room, says, it's all going to be okay now, Mother. And Mother starts bitching at him immediately.
Yelling.
She's not happy to be back. She's not happy with Norman. She doesn't want these whores in the house.
Always yelling.
And the movie ends with this incredible shot of Norman's silhouette standing on the steps outside the house with Mother back in the window. No matter what he tried, he was always heading back to this moment. Because it seems like he genuinely wanted to stay what he had become. Mother was gone. But Mother didn't leave him alone.
Nope. You know what? Now that I'm thinking, and I take in what you say, he probably wasn't affected that he would have been fine until his aunt or his mom started calling him again. Even if those other people weren't there messing with him, that's all it would have taken to snap him, was her calling.
If only Robert Loggia had figured it out sooner. Because Norman sees a lot of things that are unexplainable in the first half of the movie. But it takes half the movie for Robert Loggia to say, someone's doing this to you, Norman. I think it's Lila.
Well, there's a lot of people doing stuff to him,
There
in
is,
fairness.
and he figures out Mary's her daughter immediately. But by the time he tells them this, Norman already has another piece of information we're not privy to.
Right.
That he believes Mother's out there and she's coming home.
And
they even exhumed the body at one point to show him.
Robert Loggia pulls no punches when he needs to fix a patient.
Listen to me. Robert Loggia gets shit done.
He's not even a detective, and he was trying to figure out what is happening.
Could have fooled me because he detects the shit out of this. But then, in the big moment he needs, his plan is gotcha. A flawless plan until that moment.
He had solved so much, I can understand. Just, you're so triumphant, you get overwhelmed with like, yes, I've done it. I've finally done it.
I want a prequel to this movie that just follows Robert Loggia solving crimes, a crime-solving psychiatrist.
Can I take you one step further and make a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen of the movie psychiatrists that we've had? Your Loomis is.
Loomis is the wild card.
Yeah, we could go through and pick out this league. Ooh, that would be a movie. I would watch that.
Well, I can't name another psychiatrist.
It'll come to me. I can't think of it offhand, but I know they're out there. It doesn't have to be a psychiatrist. It could be somebody who's supposed to be the helper. Who else do we got in movies? What other movies are there?
What other movies are there?
Yeah, you know what? I think we should add in maybe a Freddy Krueger. Wasn't he kind of a psychologist?
No, he was a child molester.
I probably don't want him around then.
Yeah, he was. I don't think he was a psychiatrist. Maybe a child psychologist.
Was anybody trying to help Freddy Krueger before he killed all those people?
Like holding them down and stuff?
No, I meant like make him better.
No,
like
I don't think anybody knew he was crazy.
You know what? We can just add him to our movie because they added Tom Sawyer.
I have a third one.
Ooh, rule of 3.
This is a trio. Bernie in Friday the 13th, Part 7.
I don't remember Friday the 13th, Part 7.
Where they have Dr. whatever his name is, but he's played by Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's. And he likes to throw mothers in front of Jason and try to run away. Can you beat the trio of Robert Loggia, Donald Pleasance, and Bernie?
Seems like we have 2 wild cards and one guy who does all the work.
Terry Kaiser. No, Terry Kaiser's a psychiatrist. Is not a wild card. He's actively trying to hurt the group.
That's a wild card in
we
my
have
book.
A super efficient, great leader, a wild card who's trying to do the right thing and can't do it ever, and then a guy actively trying to sabotage. I love this. I'd watch this.
Well, it fits because in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, of course, one of them is a traitor.
Yeah, and it's never a doubt who it is.
Yeah. Right. But you know what? Maybe this one, he shouldn't be a traitor because everyone knows what he's doing the whole time and they accept it. That's just how he rolls.
It's just part of the dynamic.
Right. All right. So then he had that awesome scene where he stands there in front of the house and Mother's in the window. And then
Makes you excited to see a Psycho 3.
made me excited to see the end credits, buddy.
Oh, wow.
That's what I got excited about. Well, you basically listed everyone who was in the cast, but did you know Who the deputy was played by?
No, and I know what else? I never figured out who shot him either. I know who shot the sheriff.
I bet you there's a song that says I shot the deputy.
There should be.
I bet you there is.
There is that song where somebody catches up with Major Tom from Space Oddity.
Really? Yeah. That sounds pretty cool. All right. So where was I? Oh, yes. The deputy.
Yeah, I don't know. I told you I don't know.
In old Tom Holland.
An old Tom. Is this the Tom Holland that wrote the script?
Maybe, but he also played the deputy and Spider-Man.
It might be. I think Tom Holland wrote the screenplay, and he went on to direct and co-write the original Child's Play movie.
Spider-Man's a busy guy.
Well, he's Spider-Man. Who was he? He's Spider-Man.
Also, I don't know if you knew this, but this movie was made because I guess whoever made it, Tom Holland, the producers anyway, owed a debt to Alfred Hitchcock. So I guess they had to pay it off. That's why this movie got made.
Wait, start that over.
The producers who made this movie owed a debt to Alfred Hitchcock.
Okay, Hitchcock was dead. He's not going to collect that debt.
Well, then why does it say the producers wish to acknowledge their debt to Sir Alfred Hitchcock right at the beginning of the credit?
I see what's happened here. Please continue.
There were two best boys, Tom Marshall and Michael Orifice. That is his real name. It's Orefice. That's an orifice if I've ever seen one. And I've seen plenty. What else do we got here? Oh, and really the only other thing, do you remember how at the very end they put numbers on movies? And my theory is that...
That thing you brought up months ago?
Yes.
I never heard anything about it again.
My theory is that these movies are just numbered. And the number on this movie from the Motion Picture Association of America was 26858, which if I believe is a lot smaller than the number on the other movie.
I feel like the other one was 35 something or 30 something. I was like it was 30 something. So you thought that was bad. It was impossible. But this is 17 years before that movie. So I feel like it's right. I feel like they're just counting them in order.
I think it might be. So this is a fascinating new thing to add to my looking for best boys.
I look forward to, because of the way that this has been recorded, I look forward to that never coming up again, because you're going to have about 4 months to not think about it.
No, I'm going to remember. Because you know what else I also have on my page of notes for Psycho 2? I got a whole bunch of Nick facts, Nick facts, Nick news. I could probably turn some of these into Cage quizzes. I have all sorts of stuff. But I already told you. Are you ready for? Should I do the Nick Cage stuff? Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Are you focused?
Yeah.
Don't stare at your screen like my children do when I'm talking to them.
All right.
Don't do like those people at that party I was at a couple of weeks ago, the kids' party in the neighborhood I went to, where everyone, like I was talking to them and I was being funny and they kept walking away. So I had to keep following them to finish my story. And then they kept looking away, like looking around, trying to get out of the conversation. Don't be like them.
That's a good one. I like that one. Other one? You got another one?
You're a bastard, man. You're a bastard, man. And now, which one should I give you? Oh, what were you talking about earlier? Somebody was going to do Jamie Lee Curtis. She was going to be in this movie.
No, I didn't say that. I said that they considered her, but I don't know how hard they tried.
They wanted her, but then they couldn't get her. Well, did you know that Jim Carrey wanted Nicolas Cage to play Lloyd in Dumb and Dumber?
Wow.
Unfortunately, he was doing Leaving Las Vegas at the time. So he did that one instead. I 100% agree with you. Think about Dumb and Dumber starring Nicolas Cage and Jim Carrey. The only way that would be better, they should remake it with Nicolas Cage and Jack Black.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, God, yes. That is what we should be doing instead of counting movie numbers. That's nonsense.
We? This is what we should be doing? You think it's a two-man operation counting movie numbers?
Hey, man, I can't do this by myself.
No, any math is over your head.
I was going to make a math joke, but I don't know any.
Yeah.
You know, there's 3 things I'm bad at.
Yeah, you've done this before. You sold it really well the first time, as if you didn't understand that you made a joke. Well, next week, we've got the Spooky Season Spectacular.
And I've got at least 2 more, Nick. Oh, what was that one that I just gave you?
I didn't listen. I don't know anything that you said to me.
I'm just trying to which category it would be. It would be, you know what, that would be a knick-knack fact. That would be my children dropping something upstairs.
I think that would be To be honest with you, I don't remember what the categories are.
Oh, well, let me tell you. There's Nick News, which is general news about Nick Cage, like what he's doing or things of that nature, what he's up to. No, Knick-Knack Facts, which are just little snippets.
You could have just asked, what movie do you think? You could have guessed it. You could have turned it into
See, that's the problem I've been having with my Nick stuff, and I really got to put the categories down more because they can all kind of turn into each other. That's the beauty of Nicolas Cage. He's so versatile. Even the truth about him is in flux.
Yes, these Nick News and Knick-Knack Facts can easily turn into each other with very little to no tinkering.
And also a quiz. Just by putting a question mark at the end of my fact, I've already made a quiz.
Well, next week is the Spooky Season Spectacular, where we're going to be looking at the big releases coming out for spooky season.
Yeah.
Pete, can you believe it's mid-September already?
I cannot.
This feels like the shortest summer we ever had.
Boy, I hope we're still alive.
Oh, boy, I didn't think about that.
This is going to be a weirdly out-of-touch podcast we'll be back to normal next week.
If I told you that I do at some point want to record the last episode of this podcast...
We might have already done it.
Well, I'm assuming we haven't.
Okay.
I want to record the last episode of the podcast. So that way, when one of us dies, I could just tack that on at the end and be like, here's our last episode of the podcast. We recorded it already. But it's actually like a finale, like a goodbye. I hate when things are left unfinished. So I'll just like schedule it. And then every time I just keep moving it back a week.
That sounds horribly morbid.
I know, I love it though. Like a wake for the podcast.
Yeah.
But it'd also be funny because I'm just imagining that like we live a little bit longer and we're old and our voices are, and then we're back to, hey, it's 2025. I want to say
goodbye.
Goodbye. We're dead now. One of us is dead now. We don't know which one.
Nope.
It's a mystery.
Well,
Maybe
if you're hearing this, we're assuming that Pete died because there's no way in hell I'm going to figure out what you got to put it on one of those 10-man switches.
We'll record two versions. You can choose your own adventure ending. Which one of us is dead?
Yeah, but as long as you have it set to automatically upload.
That's what I mean. It'll automatically upload. So it'll automatically upload my version, but I'll switch it out if you're the one who dies.
Right.
Just I want to give people closure.
All right. I like it. I'm on board with that.
Yeah. So Psycho 2, you said you didn't like it at the very beginning of this podcast.
Because I remember you played that clip and there were like long, so you'd be like, hello.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
It's the anti-slasher slasher movie. I really enjoyed it.
Dun, 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 dun.
So you didn't like Psycho 2. Now you like it because you're not thinking about the pauses.
No. As long as I don't have to sit there and listen to the pauses, I really like this movie. Thinking about the movie. Kind of like that other movie you made me watch. The musical.
Wicked?
I like the story. Don't give it. You know what? I probably kid you. Like, you probably like the book then. I'm like, I probably would.
Yeah, I think it's more of a dark fantasy book.
Kind of dig that. That's what I like about the movie. I don't like any of the singing.
I remember when that book came out. It was so huge. Black cover. All right, we got to go for this week. I can't believe that paid off 3 times.
The rule of 3.
No question if I edited that out or not now because I don't have another ending. See you next week for Spooky Season Spectacular 2025. Kitty will be back for that, unless she divorces you by then. Anything's possible after the summer you had. See you next week.